Okay, we're representing the mysteries of the black hole. Now, I purposely have the overhead light off because it's so super bright that it would wash out all of these lit effects. But I'm going to turn the light on now. And you can still see the heart box one a little bit. But basically, this Vincent is floating. There's let me get something to pass underneath it. There's nothing connecting it to this base or around it or anything like that. In fact, it's free to spin around in a circle if it wants to. If you just give it a little nudge, it can bobble around. What's going on there? I'm going to move the camera, so hang on. I'm bringing you over here. So here's a little video, and I'll just commentate over it. So this base that we're looking at here, that's a large ceramic magnet, and the circuitry controls these 4 electromagnets. And then this piece here is 2 neodyne magnets, and basically they're repelling against that, and these are controlled sucking it down towards it. And in the center there's some Hall effect sensors that once you get everything at the right centering and the right altitude, then the disc will just float. It's a magnetic levitation. And this particular one can hold up to 500 grams of weight. They have smaller ones that only hold 100 grams, 200 grams, then it kind of jumps up to 500. And the biggest one I've seen that you can buy was set for 1,000 grams of weight, which is way more than what you need to do something like this. Let's see if I can get this where I can get in there and the camera can get in there. Okay, so I'm going to grab it, and I can't see the camera while I'm doing this, but it's a little bit tricky to get used to putting it on. Now basically, I'm also using, I'll link the video down below, the wireless power transfer to run the LEDs inside Vincent. That system is in here, along with the magnetic lev. Now this piece here could be mounted a whole lot lower. I could mount it way down there and have this guy up high, but the problem with that is it gets too far away from the wireless power transfer to transfer enough power to light up all of the LEDs in here. There's actually 8 LEDs in here to light them all up. So that became a little bit of a problem. I had to move this up closer. The only reason I didn't put this just inside the body, because the body is actually hollowed out for this magnet to be inside, and just let Vincent float. As you saw in that video earlier, there's a certain amount of distance that this magnet locks into place at, and it's about 20 millimeters, at the very most 25. Adding the weight doesn't really change that point. That's just where all the sensors lock in at. And obviously when that's up in the body far enough to not be sticking out, unfortunately with these feet coming down and everything, that's enough that the feet basically drag on the base. So I couldn't put the magnet up in here like I was hoping, just because of the amount of levitation distance when everything locks in. And I couldn't move the magnet down further to make it look like he's just floating on a pole, because then I got too far away for the power transfer for the LEDs. So this was the compromise. So when you go to put this thing down, you have to feel for that center, and if you get wrong, it's going to fly off all kittywampus, and the right height. And when you get in the right place, it just sits there and floats. I'm going to take the camera off the tripod here so you can get some other angles, because the tripod kind of locks you in. So here you can see underneath it. Maybe you can see underneath it depending on how I hold my hands. And so I consider this the black hole, and it's full of all the mysteries, and of course the floating Vincent. Now Vincent is all 3D printed on this printer. Actually, I keep this bag on it to keep dust from collecting on it. and hollowed it out as much as possible to control the weight. In order to be getting it to actually sit level, I ended up having to put a huge chunk of fishing lead here in the back because it kind of wanted to lean forward. It didn't have any trouble floating that way, it just looked odd leaning forward. So I put a big chunk of lead in there to level it out. And I think it's amazing actually how much weight this whole thing can levitate, because I mean just these two large neodymium magnets here, that's really heavy. And that's not counting the 500 grams that they'll let you stack on top of that thing. So there you have it. We have a levitating, floating, LED lit Vincent the robot from the black hole.